Good morning from KWBE and welcome to our Ask the Mayor program. It's the program that comes to you each Thursday morning as we spotlight city issues and we welcome in Beatrice Mayor Bob Morgan. Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
I'm doing good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. Looks like we're going to get a little hot today and tomorrow.
And maybe windy tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're back to August weather.
We are, but when you think about it, what is today? Today's the 7th, so we've had a reprieve of what typical first week of August is. So
Yes.
that's I think those nights have been cool, and the days haven't. And even yesterday, I thought it was going to get hotter than what it did.
Right.
So we kind of had a reprieve. Missed a little bit of rain, but we've had a pretty good run.
We have. We shouldn't. No reason to complain, right? No,
Well-
I mean, we always can complain, but
Right.
But yeah, we are warming up here for a couple of days. Hey, the other night, boy, the weather. Talk about the weather. Weather was beautiful for Tuesday night for National Night Out here in Beatrice.
You know what? They did a great job. The police department put that together. I was there early, and it was really neat to see the number of booths that were there. And I guess Security First was there with a hot dog opportunity, and there were some people with cookies, and then you had the state patrol, you had the fire department, you had the sheriff's department, you had the police department, and you had a lot of people who came down in support of it. Not only kids that are getting ready to go to school, but I saw a lot of community members that were there, and it's just I think it's been very positive role that the police department has really taken over the years of trying to be a leader of being out in the community in a positive light. And they continue to do that, and I was just very, very impressed with everything that took place at National Night Out, and thank all of them, because I know those, as you know, setting up for those type of things just takes time, and trying to get a commitment out of everybody who will be there. And so it was a great night out.
I know in visiting with Chief Murphy, we were chatting there for a little bit, and he had mentioned how Officer Brown kind of said one day, I guess, hey, we should do this. And he said, okay, go with it. And she rolled with it. And wow, just turned out really well.
Officer Brown did a great job of coordination and putting together what I would say was probably one of the best national night outs you're going to find anywhere.
I was shocked how big the crowd was so early in the evening.
Yes.
Sometimes these events, it takes a little while. People get off work, get the kids come down. But I'll tell you what, it was busy from right away from the start, wasn't it?
It really, really was, and all the way through. From the feedback that I got, like I said, I got there, I think it was about 4:15, and walked through and was glad to see everybody. And hats off to Officer Brown, who put together a great event with all the other officers, and Chief Murphy for putting on such a great event.
They should have put you in the dunk tank.
I think that's why I went early, so nobody would notice.
Nobody would volunteer you, huh? Okay.
I think sometimes there's an age limit. I think once you turn 67, you can't be in the dunk tank, because if you fall, you might break something.
Okay, all right. I think I even joked with Chief Murphy about it. You going in the dunk tank? He goes, no. So apparently they had their list of volunteers. So
and hats off to them.
You betcha, you bet. Even Toro was there that night too. Even
absolutely.
He was even enjoying it all too.
Absolutely.
So, again, just a great night. It's an event that happens all across the country, and again, it took place on Tuesday night at Charles Park, and you're right. It does help build that community relationship with the community and our police department.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So with that, let's move on to a few things. We got a number of street construction projects that are going on right now. Seems like everything hit at once here in the last week or so.
Well, let's talk about the latest closure on 19th Street. People might be wondering. And that is one of the closures that we hope that we can, in some cases, sometimes you do projects one at a time. And so Black Hills needed to do some things to get ready for Heritage Heights and moving of the house. There were some street things that needed to be repaired. There's some water mains that need to be adjusted as we do Heritage Heights. And so Black Hills was going to close 19th Street. And our guys had the foresight to say, well, wait a minute. If it's already closed for that, why don't we do the streets? Let's do the water. Let's do the things we need to do. So we close it just one time instead of, that thought of all of a sudden being reactionary and you shut it down for 3 days in August and then 5 days in September and 6 days in October. We're getting everything out of the way. And we know that street closures are always an inconvenience, not only to the people who live there, but the people that are used to that route. But unfortunately, we have to get our work done. And so that's kind of the story on why 19th Street is closed. The other update, of course, people are wondering, school starts next week, and they're wondering about Lincoln Street. I know that the through traffic going both east and west will be open. Rain has not actually been a lot of contractors' friends over the last month, not only on Heritage Heights and Corral Crossing and 27th, or on Lincoln Street from 25th to 27th. But we do know that lane is going to be open for school. And also 19th Street, our goal is to have that open before school starts. The thing that we may see is a little bit of lagging on the sidewalks. But we'd rather have the through traffic lanes open. And then we'll get the sidewalks as soon as we can as well.
Have the folks who have been working on those streets, have they been pretty satisfied with the progress that they're able? Like you said, the rain, yeah. You can't do anything about rain. No. We can't control that, but otherwise everything else has been going well for them. Absolutely.
It's been going pretty well, and they understand. At the last council meeting, we actually did a change order on a little thing that we'll do. When we put in the entire stretch there, by the new school, there was an outlet there that engineers missed on all sides. So we're going to put a new outlet in because a lot of the rain there's kind of a little pond that pooling out there, and so we'll drain that out as well. So that's coming up too.
Okay. And we got the house moved. The house got moved.
House got moved, and it's in its foundation, or it's in its new home. So that lot, we will, that part of our demolition budget will close in the basement and put the walls in and fill that in. What we try to do is we try to couple that with a couple of other projects on demolition. So put that out for bid, and that'll. I know there's a house that we're going to couple that with that was on fire that needs to be destroyed. I think around 11th and Jefferson or something around that. Don't quote me on that one. But we'll also get that foundation pushed in. So those things are coming up. Those really won't cause much of a street closure, but we'll take care of a couple of those things we need to take care of, and then that will be a grass lot.
Okay.
You know what the rumor is?
Oh, well, what is the rumor?
The rumor is that the next step is going to put a roundabout there.
I've heard that rumor. I wasn't the one who's going to say the rumor, but I've kind of read that or whatever.
Well, no, for now it will remain a four-way stop. It's not on our radar screen. There's a design out there, but it's not on the 1 and 6 Street plan. As we reevaluate things, and down the road it might be, but I can tell you over the next couple of years, the four-way stops seem to be working very well, and that's where we're going to remain.
Okay. I was just going to say, how's that four-way stop been working? Because ever since, that took that stoplight away. Yep. I don't think there's been any issues, have there? No,
just small ones, but we've really moved forward, and it's moving traffic really pretty well. In succession, if you look at it, I think accidents when there's two stop signs at that busy intersection is more of a risk. Then you got the stoplight, which is at risk. The four-way stops lessen that risk even more, and then you've got the roundabout, which totally almost eliminates the risk of accidents.
But again, no roundabout at this time.
No roundabout at this time. I don't see that in the next couple, 2, 3, 4 years. I think more traffic studies will have to be done. And quite honestly, we did a street study on Lincoln Street. Now what we're doing on the Safe Streets for All is trying to find grants, because that's how you do a major project like that.
Okay. How are we doing on 5th Street? They're working away still on 5th Street.
They are. Making progress. They're trying to, just do sections at a time, so they're still parking on that particular street. Had a lot of good feedback from people who thought that was really, really narrow. I also had the feedback that, we just did that, well, now it's probably been 10 years ago or more. But, I think it's going to turn out to be a really pretty good project.
Okay. Is there a timeline on that when they hope to have all that done, or just
There is, and I don't know exactly what the
Okay.
timeline is, but I know we asked them to continue to move along steadily to make sure we don't tie up too many parking spots for the businesses that are there.
of course, again, weather
Yep.
does dictate that
It
sometimes.
does.
So.
It does.
Speaking of work and such, before we take a break, when I came to work this morning, I've noticed as I went across the West Court Street Bridge, got some pretty big equipment sitting down there.
Yes. Yeah.
Woo!
I wasn't sure if that was going to be on our list today or not, but when I drove by, I think I saw 2 track hose and a pretty good front end loader sitting down there, and I'm thinking, well, the question is going to be, what are we doing? Well, for years, the state has wanted the water main off of the Court Street Bridge, and we're finally moving forward since they're going to eventually. I mean, I hate to. Rumors run rampant, I understand. Eventually, I guess the state is going to redo that Court Street Bridge. So in preparation for that, we are going to bury the water line that will run across the river. And that's what that equipment is there for. Gosh, we kind of had that set up and the plans developed probably 6 months ago. Got the bid out. And so now they're going to be rolling in and doing the construction. So that's what they're doing there. No street construction, just moving the water line.
Okay, all right. 8:40, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have more with Mayor Morgan right after this. Back with Ask the Mayor on KWBE. Beatrice Mayor Bob Morgan with us this morning. Let's talk a little bit about electricity. The city has hired a firm out of Omaha. What's happening here?
We hired HDR out of Omaha. They're going to evaluate our electrical generation outputs for our equipment and do a comprehensive study to think about building a electrical generation plant here in Beatrice. As we have our own electrical department, there's some things that are going to come down the pipe that is really making us take a look at how do we continue to provide a reasonable rate electricity to all of our constituents, because that's important. And if you think about how the world has changed today, we see, for instance, we have 2 companies that are in the industrial park that deal with Bitcoin mining or something. I don't understand that whole thing, but I know that's what they do. That takes a lot of electricity. Now, the good thing about one of those companies is the electricity that they use the off, in the not the peak hours, but the off-peak hours. So that's helpful and a good generator for our electric company. But, you've had everything we have is starting to use more electricity. You got in your home, you use a little more electricity. There has been a movement in electrical cars and we don't see that electrical needs subsiding. So, long story short, and I will say I've learned a lot about electricity and power from some experts like Tobias and Pat Feist, and then a gentleman by the name of Mr. Kratzky, who is our advisor in trying to buy power at the most reasonable rate to pass on to our constituents. We have power contracts through December 31st of 2030. And so we're pretty well locked in for what we need. However, in 2031, there's going to be a significant difference. And it's hard to understand, but, if we have a demand of electricity that we know at our peak, we're going to use 50 megawatts for the community. Let's just say that as round numbers. Right now, we as a power person, and this happens whether it's in NPPD, OPPD, or even in other states, we need to make sure that we have access to another 10% electricity. And the perfect example is when the polar vortex went through. So when the polar vortex went through, we were maxed out, but we had a reserve of another 10% that we could rely on in a short amount of time. And that really paid our benefits as we got through that polar vortex. Well, from that and other catastrophic events, a lot of the regional, like we belong to the Southwest Power Pool. I'm probably saying more stuff than what is hard to understand, but they and most of the people in the country are going to take that reserve in 2031 from a 10% reserve to about a 35 or 36% reserve. That means we're going to have to make sure that we have a source to cover that additional 25%. And how do you do that? Well, we need to make sure that we do that in the most fiscally responsible way. By building an electrical generation power plant, it takes money. That's first of all. It takes some money, takes some skill. And HDR is taking a look at how we can do that and what the cost would be. Because if we can build that additional insurance electrical output that we would need every once in a while in our own generation plant, we believe the numbers now are showing that we can have a significant savings over if we try to buy it ourselves out on the open market. Now, I will tell everyone that in 2031, electricity is going to rise. The rates are going to go up. It's going to be a demand situation where you have supply and demand, and this is going to happen nationwide. The good news is, in my opinion, the electric department, the city administrator, myself, we're taking a look at that now so we can prepare for that jump in 2031 and make it a reasonable cost to our constituents. So it's a pretty major study that they're going to do, but it's a study that really will help us think about putting our city in the best spot. One of the things that I said Monday night at the city council is, we have a well protection on our well that we haven't tapped that can always provide clean water to our community for generations, 50, 60, 70 years. We made the step to build a landfill, and so now we're in good shape with our trash for the next 50, 60, 70 years. We're looking at this project as a way to give this city access to reasonably rated electricity for the next 50, 60, 70 years. Unfortunately for me, I'm not probably going to see a lot of that, but I do know that for those that have, kids and even grandkids and great-grandkids, their future in Beatrice is going to have a secure form of water, sanitation, and electricity. And for me, even though it's probably not going to happen during my tenure, if we can set the train on the track to get those three things secured for this community, it's set up for the long haul. And it also then helps us have economic development needs, because as economic development grows, electricity demand is there. And so to me, it's really exciting to think about being able to at least set up the path that we've got water, we've got power, and we've got sanitation taken care of. So I'm excited, and I'm so thankful for the foresight that we have in our city administrator and our department head of the electric department to sit down and study this. And it hasn't come out of the blue. They've been studying this for a year and a half. And one of the things why you say, is it on now? And why are we looking at this? Because it's 5 years down the road. Because other people are starting to build power plants. The guts or the equipment that we're going to need to put into this plant have a 4 to 5 year lead time. And a lot of it is, let's get in line now. And if we don't think about this 5 years down the road, and we think about this in 2029 when our contract expires in 2030, we've really put the city in a very bad spot.
And that was a question I was going to ask you. Are you aware of other cities that are going through this same process right now then?
Well, interestingly enough, the conversation that we have had is we know several other communities that are in the same position that we are. We fortunately have ground where we can put it, so that really is nice. We've done a study that shows how we would do it, so we're a couple of steps ahead. HDR has agreed to do this, and they're very busy because there's a lot of people across the country, cities across the country that want to do the exact same thing. But they're close, and because we already had a site study done, we're about 2 steps ahead of a lot of the other communities, so they are more than willing to take us on as in this capacity as an advisor. I guess what I call owner rep, basically is what I would call them. So we're really good there. Now, to get back to your question, I know we've been in conversations with a couple of other communities that if we build this plant, they would be in line to buy some of that electricity from us. And so if you think about it, it's kind of the economy of scale. Do you build a 50 megawatt, or do you build something that'll put out 50 widgets, or do you put out something that puts out 200 widgets? And if you can put the 200 widget out for a lot less cost, then you've really done a good thing. So we're in the boat where we are starting to study 2 or 3 communities. I know that Tobias and Mr. Kraske have sat down with several of those communities. And that's part of that evaluation process we're going through is what size do we build, and do we bring on partners? And if we can bring on partners and build this for less, to me, that's a positive. So stay tuned.
Again, all this takes time, which is why you're doing it now.
Yep.
And not going to react in 5 years then. So,
it really is. I mean, because that's what's going to happen. What's going to happen, there's going to be some communities that are going to wake up one morning and go, oh my gosh, we got to get on the ball. And, with a 4 or 5 year lead time, it's pretty difficult. So I think is it a major step? Yes, it is. Is it a step that puts us in the best spot we can be in southeast Nebraska? Absolutely.
Have they shot a price tag of what something like this is, or not yet? Or
no, not yet. That's part of the study, and it's part of the study, and it's also part of that decision of whether we just build it for ourselves or we build it with partners.
Sure, right.
Because those will change the price tag of those. So, but it's amazing how much electricity we run through in a year, and we're buying and selling electricity all the time. It's as I said before, I've learned a lot of knowledge that I don't know if I'll ever use again, but it is just amazing to sit back and see where all the power comes from. I mean, we have the Cottonwood plant that we use for windmills for our green energy. We have power we buy from the Southwest Power Pool, and it's just one of those things that, like Cottonwood, we buy and sell from that because sometimes we have excess energy. And that's something that the people look at on an hourly basis. So it's amazing to see the inner workings of what all the folks do at the electrical department.
We will look forward to hearing more as this all develops down the road then.
It'll take a little bit of time, but we will get there.
Okay, let's take a short break. We'll come back, wrap things up here in a bit. 8:55, we're about ready to wrap things up here with the mayor. Mayor Bob Morgan with us this morning on Ask the Mayor. And as we get ready to close things out, we're about ready to close out another summer, which means the pool's going to close. Do we get another doggy dip this year?
We do. We get another doggy dip. We approved that on Monday night. The dogs will have a lot of fun on, August 19th. They have that kind of broken up into 2 sections based on a little bit on size and temperament of the dogs. But, I don't know how long they've been having it, but it's been successful. And the dogs, if you've never watched or if you want to take your dog, that would be wonderful. It's fun to watch. Then the dogs have a great time.
They do have a blast, don't they?
That's right.
They're having more fun than the owners. I mean, the owners are having fun, but
they are.
The dogs just really do love this, don't they?
They do.
And it's a great fundraising thing for the Humane Society.
It is.
But it's a great way to close out the pool. How was the pool season? Have you heard much as we get ready to wrap things up for the summer?
I think it was pretty good, but again, we had rain. I mean, we've had a few cool days where it's probably not quite as inviting as those 105-degree days in August. But they always have a good run, and so we'll let the dogs have their 2 hours of fun in the pool, and then drain it and clean it, and we'll put her to bed until Memorial Day of 2026.
All right. So mark it on your calendar and, bring down your dogs for a fun night. It is a fun night. It really is. It is. Okay. As we wrap it up, what's the latest on the landfill? Been out to see the landfill lately?
I have. The cell number 1 that we're getting is the line. There's like 4 different layers of liners. It's pretty well almost done. I think the building where the scales are going is under construction, and I think for the most part we're still on task to get done around that first part of November, and that'll be a 2-step process. We'll move from the north side of the road to the south side of the road, and we'll close the north side of the road as a dump, or the landfill. I shouldn't call it a dump, it's a landfill. And then we'll open the new landfill, and away we go.
Away we go. So it again, weather always dictates things,
yes.
But otherwise, everything's been going well with the whole.
Has been going really well. Yes.
I know you said you've been out there a few times, and things have been working well. I mean, they're hard at work out there.
They're hard at work. They've done a great job. It's one of those cases early on when they did get some rains. It was nice because the soil was compacting really well. And so that's a case where the weather kind of helped them.
Yeah.
But I think there's, like I said, I think the funny part of it is, it's not every day that a landfill gets built. And it's not every day that a landfill gets built 40 miles from the city of Lincoln. And so the departments that check landfills and see how things are going has had a number of field trips down here to double check how our work's going, not because they want to double check, but because they want to just see how a landfill is put together. So we've had a pretty good tourist season at our landfill.
Never thought that would happen, huh?
No.
But as you said, this you were just stating a little bit earlier how this is going to last us now for many. I mean, this is again thinking of the future down the road, isn't it?
Correct. I think our estimate is that each cell will last about 10 to 12 years. On the conservative side, if you say 10, there's room for 7 cells. That's 70 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So got some time there. Yeah.
We do have time.
We do have some time.
And who knows in 70 years what the technology will bring
Yeah.
to get rid of our garbage.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot can change. Yeah. With things that they invent these days or
That's
whatever.
correct.
That is true. Well, Mayor, we thank you for coming in. Any final thoughts this morning? Anything to close out here this morning?
Well, no, other than, good luck on getting back to school for everyone. And I know it's an exciting time for some of the children. And as you get older, it's maybe not quite as exciting. And, the one thing it is, we've got a great educational system here in southeast Nebraska. So good luck and have fun.
Buses will be out next week. So, traffic-wise, let's watch for those kids, watch for those buses, and drive safely.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Mayor, have a good day and the rest of your week.
All right, Dave, thank you.
This is Ask the Mayor on KWBE.